everybody, SonGoshuaku live here to rank all 13 matches of WrestleMania 42. Alright, so we kick things off with number 13, Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. Man, I really would love to rank this match higher. I'm a fan of Randy Orton, a fan of Cody Rhodes, and even a fan of what Pat McAfee has brought to the WWE. But unfortunately, when I look at the rest of this card, man, unfortunately, there was no other spot for me than for this match, honestly, for me, than the very bottom. So what I did like about the match is I love that Cody Rhodes was way more aggressive than what he was in last year's main event at WrestleMania against John Cena. Now, in that match, I actually thought this match was definitely way better than the main event against John Cena last year that Cody Rhodes had. I love how vicious Randy was, and, you know, this is the type of stuff I thought he should have been doing in last year's main event. But the psychology was also interesting in this match for the fact that you had Randy Orton mostly getting beat up for a lot of the match and getting bloody, as you can see in the graphic that I use. Because with this match, it's like Randy Orton was sort of like that sympathetic babyface, and Cody Rhodes was being the aggressive heel. And man, that kept me honestly very intrigued through the whole match, because I was like, oh snap, you know, I'm not one here. A lot of fans are clamoring for a heel turn with Cody Rhodes. I'm not. I think Cody Rhodes is awesome, and I'm fine with him as he is right now. But if they were going to go that route, have Cody go heel, man, it was building up the suspense. You know, one of my favorite matches of all time, even though the heel turn didn't do much for the business long term, obviously. And in fact, he definitely took it down quite a bit for long term, was Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock at WrestleMania 17. In that match, man, the way Stone Cold's psychology was as he built up gradually as a heel more and more as the match went on, fantastic stuff in terms of Stone Cold being a psychology master in the ring, and that seemed exactly what Cody Rhodes looked like he was doing in this match. So it definitely kept me intrigued, which is why I don't think this match was bad. But can I say it was a great match? For me, I thought it was alright. It was okay. And you know, they took forever with the entrances and Pat McAfee's involvement, and even now Pat McAfee has come out and said on his podcast that I guess the best is that he guessed the business didn't need saving after all. So it looked like he was doing mostly like a quick favor for TKO, and then that was it. And even Jelly Roll said that he felt that him and Pat didn't need to be involved and stuff like that. And, you know, respect to those guys, because they are true wrestling fans. They're not just celebrities coming in here that don't care about the business. You can tell they definitely care. And that goes into this match basically where Cody Rhodes, you know, Randy Orton, he ended up turning on Pat McAfee, and then there you go. That's the end of the match, and Cody Rhodes gets the pinfall and everything. Shout out to Coleslaw in the chat, says he's in limbo, probably because of the intro or whatever. But yeah, but getting back to the match here, man, you know, it's just, this match had so much going for it. Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, 20 years of history with legacy. I was on the No DQ review. Shout out to the No DQ fam this past week, and over this week a few days ago, and I was saying that, man, I don't mind Pat McAfee's involvement in the storyline, but I wish there would have been more time dedicated to telling that legacy story for longtime fans like me who have grown up watching Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. For newer fans who weren't familiar with the history, this could have been a great history lesson, and you got more fans who want to go back now and look at the history of the product. But yeah, there's so much that could have worked well for this, and unfortunately I just don't think it worked well enough. And so it's one of those matches where I look back, man, am I gonna want to go back and visit this classic between Randy Orton and Cody? The answer is probably not. There's not a lot of replay value, unfortunately, for me here, just like there wasn't a lot of replay value for me going back to Cody Rhodes and John Cena last year at WrestleMania 41 in the main event. What does have a lot of replay value, and something that I'll always keep talking about for many years to come, is John Cena and Cody Rhodes rematch at SummerSlam. And I'm pretty sure, honestly, as I look into it, there's going to be another rematch between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton that I think does end up being that match that makes us be like, yeah, this was so much better than their WrestleMania 42 match. And hey, we in the chat, Baskin says, thanks for joining chat, says Randy is better than Cody, but what is your favorite black wrestler? Probably be The Rock. Definitely. Thanks for joining the chat. And yeah, so someone like him in the chat, Baskin, Randy Orton, he likes Randy Orton better than Cody Rhodes, so I'm pretty sure even you probably want to see something maybe better than the match, unless you really enjoyed it. But yeah, I just felt like we could have gotten more between these two in terms of just the way everything was structured out and stuff. This match to me is kind of similar in a sense, but wrong outcome in terms of execution, I would say. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, alongside Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels, they both had two similar stories here. In 1997 at King of the Ring, Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels had what I'm pretty sure they themselves have said many times they consider, as well as many fans, a much better technical wrestling match. And then they would run it back again in 1998 at WrestleMania 14 several months later, and they would have a much more grandiose match in terms of the build-up, and it really helped push the Attitude Era into a whole new level where Stone Cold got his crowning moment, finally becoming world champion. And you see in that match, it wasn't as technically good because Shawn's back was messed up, Stone Cold's neck was messed up, and very much like this story, they had a celebrity involved. In the case of sports celebrity, Iron Mike Tyson, who played a huge role into that. But he didn't necessarily take away from the story, he added to the story, and it ended up playing in the story where basically he was working on behalf of Stone Cold to break DX from within, and in the end Austin was able to become world champion, and it did huge business, that Mike Tyson Stone Cold deal. And they also started that a lot more earlier in the build-up as well. So you come all these years later, 2025, Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, they had a really good technical wrestling match at King of the Ring 2025. Then several months they ran it back here at WrestleMania 42 2026, similar circumstances and involving a celebrity, but it was a lot more further, so it felt for a lot of fans that Pat McAfee was kind of just shoehorned in there and not built up in naturally. And then their match, even though it was supposed to be more grandiose like the WrestleMania 14 match between Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels, the match here, honestly, I felt failed to deliver what it could have absolutely been. It could have been great, but it just ended up being all right. And yeah, it shows you a difference of how WWE used to be when implementing celebrities or sports celebrities as well into the main event of WrestleMania versus now. So yeah, unfortunately, yeah. And when I look at the rest of this card, man, just this match right here, I don't think I got nowhere near the enjoyment out of every other matches. And there's going to be matches coming on this list that definitely fell short of the glory, but yeah, I just had no other spot for this match other than the very, very bottom, number 13. And it's unfortunate because, like I said, I like Pat McAfee, Cody Rhodes, and Randy Orton, but yeah, this match didn't do it for me, and I had to put it at number 13. Baskin in the chat says, good, The Rock is half African Samoan, top one black wrestler, Bobby Lashley. Yeah, Rock is half black, half Samoan. Bobby Lashley's another great choice. Yeah, he is an all-time great for sure when you think about black wrestlers. I was so happy when he finally won the WWE champion. Thanks for engaging in the chat. All right, we move to number 12, the Usos and LA Knight, yeah, versus Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and IShowSpeed. All right, this match was very short, which was the running theme of a lot of matches at WrestleMania. Just, yeah, this wasn't the all-out WrestleMania banger you would hope, and obviously IShowSpeed is new to this. He's only been in, I think this was like his first real full-fledged match, but I was technically there for, I guess, his first debut match at Royal Rumble where he got speared nearly in half by Braun Breaker and thrown out. But yeah, you know, having seen the Usos' very emotional main event at WrestleMania 39 against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, having seen LA Knight's match with I believe it was AJ Styles at WrestleMania 40, having seen Logan Paul's banger of a match he's had with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 39, seen. Having seen Austin Theory had a really good match at WrestleMania 32 with Pat McAfee, we know that all the individuals involved in this match absolutely could have some nice good bangers at WrestleMania. But this wasn't it. You know, it was okay for what it was, and I thought IShowSpeed was definitely a huge standout, showing what he can do with his limited experience, but I knew he was athletic and everything. And at the end, really the biggest talking point of this match, and the main reason why this match was most likely done, was because WWE, they wanted that viral moment. And when it comes to this match, you see IShowSpeed had that really epic splash from the top rope or top turnbuckle all the way to the announce table, sending Logan Paul right through it. And I really did enjoy the story from the standpoint of the Usos and LA Knight had beef with IShowSpeed, but in the end they realized, you know what, IShowSpeed, he was forced into this by the Vision. He really didn't mean any harm, and we respect him for going out there and still tangling with us in the ring. And so they gave respect, and he earned their respect. So I did like that story. Going into it and everything. I wouldn't be surprised if they do IShowSpeed versus Logan Paul somewhere down the line now, because that's gonna be huge. But here's my thing about IShowSpeed, and my biggest thing that I've been saying about this is I have respect for any celebrity that comes into WWE and you could tell they're a fan, or if not a fan, they at least take it serious enough. And that's exactly what you see with someone like IShowSpeed. He gets it. He has come in here constantly, as I mentioned in my review, that he has given LA Knight, he's given Braun Breaker, he's given Randy Orton big viral moments because he wants to help get those superstars further over, using his star power and platform on social media to help give these professional wrestlers bigger moments that will hopefully help convert some of his following over to WWE and be like, wow, this WWE stuff is pretty cool, let me stay. So how could you not have respect? Even you guys see I'm wearing the Dragon Ball Super shirt. I think IShowSpeed may have been one of the first YouTubers to actually get permission from one of the executives at Toei Animation to utilize the One Piece footage for his reaction videos. A huge step forward for anime/anime content creators and stuff, especially for me, like being Dragon Ball on my main YouTube channel. So yeah, you know, all around, I got huge respect for IShowSpeed. And like I said, I probably won't remember much of this match, but I'll always remember the moment where IShowSpeed did the big splash off the top turnbuckle through the announce table with Logan Paul on it. So yeah, and with that being said, at least it gave me a moment that I will go back and watch and has replay value for me compared to the main event, unfortunately. So yeah, the opener of night one ended up getting higher on this list slightly than the main event of night one. Number 11, Brie Bella in Paige versus Nia Jax and Lash Legend versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. The theme continues with night one. Another match where it's like, it's all right for what it was, but you know, it's not something that I'm going to remember on an all-time great level in terms of matches. However, what I will remember this for in terms of all-time greats will be moments. Stick this right up here with some of the best emotional great returns at WrestleMania. Paige to me is the story of the match. It really sucks that Nikki Bella was injured and unfortunately could not win the world titles with her sister Brie Bella, as I definitely wanted to see the Bella twins get their big moment here at WrestleMania. So I'm guessing they're gonna have to try and do this next year, because I heard they might have signed like a 2-year deal for their contract. However that all works, we'll see. But yeah, here my thing about this match is the women you had the talent. The talent was not the issue. All of these women definitely can go, and had you given them the time and provided them the moments, the time to go, I think we could have had a really amazing, solid 8-woman tag match here. But they didn't. It was cut very short, and you could tell the fans were mostly into Paige. They really wanted to see Paige get in there, and when Paige got in there, man, it was fantastic. I thought she looked good, just like in the screenshot, man. The way she was moving around there, top notch. It was really good. So overall, I really did enjoy Paige in this match, and I just felt low. This match didn't do a lot to show off the talents of what all these women can do. You know, I think Nia has come a long way since her early days in WWE. Lash Legend is being an absolute powerhouse. I'm glad they've got her in there on the rise for the women. You know, Charlotte Flair can absolutely bring it at WrestleMania. Alexa Bliss as well, Bayley, Lyra. We've seen the bangers that these women can put on. The Bella twins, you know, to their credit, while, you know, I know a lot of people will say, and certainly, yeah, they're not on the level like the 4 horsewomen from the matches. I think they have done an incredible job of hanging in there with them and stuff like that, and things like that. So the Bella twins more than can hold their own, and that's what I respect about them, is that they do take it serious. Though the competition in WWE from an in-ring standpoint has risen, the Bella twins are not like, no, we're not going to stay down here. No, the Bella twins are still pushing as hard as they can, so I respect that with them. So when you put all that in the ring, you should have a banger. You know, Paige has always been great. Yeah, you just kind of get this match. It feels like it was rushed, like most matches on night one. But at least it gave us a big moment with Paige, and the moment overall in story with Paige, just overcoming everything that she has in her life to get back to WWE from an in-ring standpoint when she was told that she would never wrestle again in WWE. It's been awesome seeing her win the world title in AEW in front of her in her home country, seeing her come back at WrestleMania and win there the titles with Brie Bella. Fantastic stuff and emotional stuff that I feel like this is what pro wrestling is all about. You know, we as pro wrestling fans want to see these emotional moments, and as emotional as Paige was, I hope she knows it was emotional for many of us fans to see her get this big comeback story. And at only 33 years of age, man, I hope the skies is the limit as we get to now see Paige, you know, go ahead and go with wrestle a lot of the women that came up during her generation and stuff, as well as the new women that have come out now. So yeah, I just will say on Monday Night Raw, I did not like how they had the Bellas and Paige just sitting there in the audience. Like, hold on, like, it was, I think after WrestleMania 34, correct me if I'm wrong, that Paige came out and had to give that very sad but hopeful speech that maybe she would get back in the ring one day. She hoped that Edge and Bryan Danielson would was giving her hope that they can come back, and they all 3 did make it back. So it would have been really good to see here at WrestleMania, the Raw after WrestleMania, let Paige get her big moment and emotionally address the crowd about how, you know, it was after WrestleMania that I had to announce retirement. And it's now also after WrestleMania that, you know, she can do her whole singing thing she does where I can proudly say, I'm back, you know. Man, that would have been awesome to see. But at least this match gave us that emotional comeback story for Paige. But match quality wise, yeah, like I said, it was all right, and I had to put it here low. But in terms of the moment, I definitely put it above the last 2 matches we had on this list. Number 12, Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee. And we continue on with the night 1 rush job. Man, once again, Becky Lynch, AJ Lee, you know, it's not just her saying it, it's Sports Illustrated, no DQ. I'm saying it as well. Becky Lynch, you know, has definitely proven herself as one of the best women in the business ever for WWE and pro wrestling. I think when you look at her resume of work, and then AJ Lee, obviously, you know, she's a pioneer for what she has done in wrestling. So when you have these 2 women who have had this long story over several months, this is the blow off. You want to see a big grandiose match. And yet, once again, like the story was with most matches at WrestleMania this year, I just don't think they were given enough time to make it that grandiose finish. But I give both women credit for what they did do with the amount of time they were allowed. I didn't think this match overall, now that I've had some time to think about it, because in my review I thought maybe it was more or less, but looking at it, I do think the match they had at Elimination Chamber prior in Chicago at the United Center was better. But this match, it was good for what it was. It told the story continuing of Jessica Carr and Becky Lynch having issues. I'm interested to see when that eventually is going to have its own match. And the finish here, now that I've had a couple of days or a few days to sit on it and think about it, being that this was the finish, I don't think I'm a fan of Becky Lynch cheating to defeat AJ Lee. They've had so many different iterations of matches all to this point, and this will be most likely the last time we see Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee, as both women are no doubt going to move on. And then we all know that apparently AJ Lee is indeed on a part-time basis now, and because she's on that part-time basis, the chances of needing to see her and Becky Lynch go at it is probably, you know, very slim to none, because obviously we're going to want to see AJ Lee, you know, get in the ring and tangle with women we haven't seen her wrestle with yet and stuff like that. So overall, looking at it, I guess the story is they wanted to tell that Becky Lynch, she came to what's the word I'm thinking of? She came to the realization that she cannot beat AJ Lee straight up clean like AJ Lee has constantly defeated her clean by making her tap out. So instead, you know, she gets the turnbuckle pad exposed and causes AJ Lee, you know, get her head rammed into that while referee Jessica Carr is not looking, and then she hits the manhandle slam, which AJ Lee does a fantastic job at selling, and she defeats AJ Lee just like that, and it's over. Yeah, I would have loved to have seen Becky Lynch actually get her clean, you know, like beat her clean, like the way The Rock beat Stone Cold clean. It took 3 rock bottoms, but he got Stone Cold defeated clean nonetheless. I would have loved to see where, hey, maybe it would have taken 3 manhandle slams, everything that Becky Lynch had to offer, but she got a 100% clean victory over AJ Lee, because, you know, when you look back on the history, Becky Lynch has defeated some of the top women of the last decade plus, and even some of the women over the last couple of decades. When you throw in Trish Stratus in there, she's beaten some of the very best in the women's division clean. But AJ Lee, nah, she couldn't beat her clean. And I guess they want to, I understand they want to keep AJ Lee looking strong, but I don't think there's any shame to losing to Becky Lynch clean in the ring 1, 2, 3 to a manhandle slam. That's my only really big gripe with this match, other than obviously not giving them more time. So that being said, though, overall as a match, though, I did enjoy it more than the other matches on this card, but I'm just gonna have to put it right there in the top 10. All right, number 9, Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre. All right, so this arguably was one of, I thought, the best build-up matches when it came to WrestleMania 42. This match, these guys hated each other, and you felt that through the build-up, even if I thought it was a little silly having these guys fight for almost 3 hours as they kept cutting back and forth between matches and showing them what they were doing. But nonetheless, I appreciate that these guys went all out trying to make sure they hate each other. I love the promos, how they implemented, you know, Jacob Fatu's real backstory, where Drew didn't want to believe that Jacob has really, you know, become a different person, and Jacob determined to show that he has become a different person. So I really like that, and how they had Drew doing the going into the jail cells, and then Jacob coming out of the cop car and all that stuff. And I enjoyed the entrances that they had for these matches too. with Jacob Fatu out there, showing his Samoan heritage with his people, and him coming out, in sort of the camouflage army gear. Drew came out with an awesome jacket and had the sword. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that was really working for this match. And then you get to this match, and I think it may have been one of the longer matches, maybe. And by longer, I mean not too long, but it was slightly a little bit longer. It may have been under 10 minutes. Who knows? I forget the time for it. But the big thing that I know a lot of people have complained about with this match is that for all the hatred they built up between these two guys in the story, it felt like a very tamed match. Like as you can see in the graphics I used there, they had the belts, they had the steel chairs, the kendo sticks and everything. But you look at that Hell in a Cell match Drew McIntyre had with CM Punk, that was a bloody war, and you felt every bit of that hatred inside that cell. And I'm not sure if they needed to go that far as this match goes. And I did like the PTSD spot they did with Drew McIntyre getting horrible flashbacks and trauma from that red toolbox that was used that busted him wide open in the Hell in a Cell match. But yeah, I think for a lot of people this felt like your standard typical hardcore match in WWE, and people wanted it to be a lot more and everything. For me, I thought the match was once again, it was okay for what it was. But hey, Drew McIntyre, he was great with the cell phone thing that he's doing every year. And Jacob Fatu also, I thought, man, I'm glad he got the big win and everything that set him up for later that night when he, later the following night on Monday Night Raw, when he came out and wanted to go ahead and confront the head of the table, Roman Reigns and stuff, which is leading to that Backlash match most likely. So overall, the right outcome, great story build up, I thought overall, and a decent match. That's what I say. A decent match. Definitely good enough to make within the top 10, I thought, as far as what we got out of these two. Number 8, Liv Morgan versus Stephanie Vaquer. Oh man, once again, here we are, night 1. If there is any match on this card that I thought was done an absolute disservice when it comes to the grandiose storytelling, it was this match, even more so than AJ Lee and Becky Lynch, because at least I thought that match was good for what it was, and this match was good too. Like I still put it above that match. Like I thought both women worked hard, but the storytelling, when this match was first most likely teased, that Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vaquer, I was like, okay, it's gonna be okay, we'll see what comes out of it. But these women blew my most wildest expectations in terms of what they did with this story. The hatred that they build up between both one another in the weeks building up was fantastic, and I thought the storytelling was awesome. When you look at it, like I said, it was the story of Liv Morgan being the woman who had a much easier time getting her foot in the door compared to Stephanie, but then had a much longer time at getting to the top of the mountain as far as becoming a world champion and main eventer, compared to Stephanie. And then on the flip side, you had Stephanie being the woman who had a much harder time getting her foot in the door at WWE compared to Liv Morgan. But once she got that foot in the door, boy, man, did she have a much more quicker time at getting to the mountaintop as a main eventer, as a world champion, compared to Liv Morgan. And the fact that dynamic is what fueled the hatred between these two women in the story, fantastic. And I thought it was one of the best. I thought it was even more consistently better than even the night 2 main event in terms of story buildup. So I absolutely wanted to see these women cook, and what the women gave us in this match, they were cooking. But once Stephanie Vaquer got the devil's kiss without much drama in the match, I should have known that, oh, this is going to be a rush job in terms of this match structure. Because when you look, and I mentioned this in my review, when you look at a Stephanie Vaquer match, usually when she's got the heel down and she goes for the devil's kiss, there's usually about 2 or 3 different attempts at countering it. And this gets the fans going boo because they really want to see it. And it really helps build up the anticipation for the match so that when Stephanie does deliver the devil's kiss, it gets a humongous pop. But they got it right off the bat. I'm like, oh, okay, right off. We're doing the devil's kiss right away. Okay. I mean, it was cool to hear the fans definitely going to Booker T, you know, really loud in that audience and everything. But then you see Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez, they come out what I thought was way too early. Way too early for the shenanigans. Like, you know, usually you have this back and forth competitive match and it just comes out like, okay, Liv Morgan is really getting desperate now because she's been going through this grueling, lengthy match with Stephanie Vaquer, and now she has to rely on her girls to come on out there and try to get some sort of advantage here. But having them come out so quickly just means like, she's like, listen, I'm not even trying to get through this match and gruel match. Just come on out now. I need to win this match. I was like, whoa, it's way too soon to be bringing them out here. And then of course she does get the Oblivion and defeat Stephanie Vaquer and win, and I'm glad to see, you know, I thought her entrance, you know, the whole trouble theme song works good for her Liv Morgan character. I enjoyed the choreography and everything coming out and stuff like that, so that was cool to see. But man, oh man, this match just felt rushed, unfortunately, and I hate that because, like I said, these women were cooking in the build-up, and I thought what they gave us in the match was cooking. I just wanted to see them cook longer, and WWE's timing of this didn't. You know, they had to get all those ads in. Like I said, I didn't mind all the ads at WrestleMania, but if you need to make these matches longer, if you need to make the show longer so that these matches have longer time to cook, then fine. Not everything has to be a 30 to 40 minute banger, but at least a decent 15-minute match, just let it cook. You know, a lot of people were mentioning how on Monday Night Raw the next night, Liv Morgan got more time with Sol Ruka than she did Stephanie Vaquer. And they had a whole story building up over these last several weeks. So it does look like the story is continuing. So very much like I mentioned with Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, hopefully these women will be given a rematch and be given a much longer time to cook in the ring. And we can see the true potential of what these two have to offer in the ring with one another when they're not limited to a severe time constraints, because they have to get, the WWE has to make sure they prioritize those ads over the wrestling matches and stuff. So yeah, unfortunately, I would love to have put this match higher on the list, but as it was given to us, that's where I had to put it on the list. All right, number 7, the Demon Finn Bálor versus Dominik Mysterio. All right, thankfully I can say we are getting to the portion of the list where you've been seeing me do a lot of it was all right, and a lot of that's from night 1, but now we can just go straight here and talk about matches that I thought absolutely delivered. And even if they had time cut short, I still thought they delivered. So our first match from night 2 on this list, as you can see, we're almost halfway through the list too, so you can imagine what mostly is going to be following. Obviously night 2, Finn Bálor versus Dominik Mysterio, the Demon. I got that all mixed up. The Demon Finn Bálor versus Dominik Mysterio. All right, so the entrants were fire for this. Like, even when I saw Finn Balor's Demon entrance and Dominik Mysterio's entrance, I'm already thinking like, man, even the entrances on night 2 are more fire than night 1. This match, once again, it was more or less kind of like what you got out of out of Jacob Fatu and it was Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre's match. A lot of table spots, chairs, and everything. But overall, it was a solid match for what it was, and it gave us Demon Finn Bálor getting a much needed win after so long, because the way Vince McMahon, like I mentioned, booked him in those last couple of matches, from losing the Edge and then in the Hell in a Cell when I thought Finn Bálor should have won over, and then to the full extent of even further down before that, having them clip the ring ropes, and I guess we were supposed to believe that the ring just couldn't take the pressure of the Demon Finn Balor, and that's how he lost, instead of just a straight up spear and 1 2 3 to Roman Reigns. This is Triple H's first time booking the Demon, and yeah, definitely I think better than the last couple of times Vince McMahon was the one around booking, because I think WrestleMania 39, even Triple H has, I think, come out and said that 40 was like his first night that he had full creative control. So who knows how much of that was Triple H versus Vince McMahon's booking, as far as the Edge match at WrestleMania with the Demon Finn Balor. But yeah, this was fun. It was great to see. I love the body paint, obviously, especially at the back. I didn't mention in my review where the artist that does the Finn Balor body makeup had Demon Finn Balor eating Dominik Mysterio. That was great. I love that spot there where he wrapped the chair around Dominik's neck and shoulders, and did the drop kick that set him up for the table spot for the coup de grace. And I thought the coup de grace looked awesome too. Through the table, 1 2 3, there you go. Demon Finn Balor gets a much needed win after all these years. Yeah, this was fun. Like I said, this was fun. It's nothing too spectacular, but I think based on everything we got on most of night one, this was definitely better than mostly everything we got. Yeah, from there, as you can see how this ranks in the list and stuff, and how most of this list previously was mostly night one. So yeah, definitely this was good stuff. I enjoyed it. Number 6, Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams. I'm probably gonna butcher this, but if that's how he says it, or whatever. But yeah, that's how I would describe this match. It was another match on night 2 that I thought once again was better than pretty much almost everything we got on night 1. Almost everything, because there is one night 1 match that will be coming up later on in the list. But as far as where we are now, night with Sami Zayn and Trick Williams on night 2, man, I thought the match was great. Sami Zayn did an absolute great job embracing all the hate and heat, and man, Trick Williams was over AF, you know, with the whoop that trick, like seeing that whole audience and everyone, man, fantastic. Trick Williams, one of the young upcoming rising stars. It's been awesome to see his journey from where he was on NXT to where he is now, man. Right decision here, having Trick Williams go over. Even once again, little respect to Lil Yachty, getting physical. You know, he was getting thrown all over the barricade and stuff from Sami Zayn, and he got in there and got Sami Zayn back for what he did, and it leads to the finish of Trick Williams getting his first world title, or not world title, but his first championship on the main roster, and seeing the audience come unglued, and you know, him celebrating with his parents there at ringside. This was fantastic. This was, I think, everything it needed to be and stuff. Could it have gone longer? Absolutely, but for the feel good moment that it created, the energy, the audience, and that's another thing. Night 2 just felt like the audience was way more energetic than in night 1. So they were definitely invested, and this was a great moment. It is one of Trick Williams' big moments and stuff like that. So that we'll always be able to look back on at WrestleMania, and hope this is like the start of even more bigger things to come. So yeah, I really enjoyed this match and the moment that it gave us. Shout out to my boy SMP joining the chat, says lemon pepper versus ginger spice. Yeah, thanks for joining, SMP. Yeah, like I said, this was good and stuff. All right, now we reach our top 5 matches of WrestleMania 42, or at least my top 5 matches of WrestleMania 42. We kick off with number 5, Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley. This match cooked. This match really cooked, I thought. Man, wow. This match absolutely was cooking. Holy crap. man, you know, a lot of people had things to say about the build-up. They didn't think the build-up was all that good and everything and stuff like that. And, you know, I thought the build-up was about as much as you could get in basically what they could do. And they even added Michin and B-Fab as like WWE's version of the baddies from AEW. And I thought they were being totally added for a plot device as a way to make Rhea look strong in defeat, and they're going to want to keep Jade Cargill going strong as the world champion until Bianca Belair is able to get back. And then, of course, in night one, Bianca Belair, and, you know, very happy for her and Montez Ford. Glad to see Montez Ford as well back in the Street Profits on Monday Night Raw after. They basically went in there with that announcement of her pregnancy. I was like, I'm super happy for them, but as far as my prediction goes, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, they're not keeping that title on Jade Cargill that long. I definitely don't think they were gonna do that, and as a result, I knew that, okay, Rhea Ripley is certainly getting that for a great reason and stuff. But yeah, I'm like, she's definitely winning that world title. Brenda, thank you for Shaha, thank you for joining the chat, appreciate it. So as far as the match goes, yeah, like I said, I thought these women cooked. Jade Cargill, you know, I think she has come a long way since her time in All Elite Wrestling. She was pulling out some moves we've never seen her do before. She was up here doing the what was it, the hip toss. She was putting in the crossface, and I got this wrong on my review, so I correctly say this right now. She got a one-winged angel, and I saw Kenny Omega actually was really glad to see her do that. Thought it was a total compliment. So I imagine that she was doing that as tribute to Kenny Omega, who she obviously would have known in AEW. So yeah, breaking out the one-winged angel, man. Shout out to Jade Cargill, you know, just going in there, showing that she, you know, she's not just some woman that gets in there and is going to use her strength as a powerhouse. No, she's shown that she has obviously wanted to get better and has gotten better. And I think it sucks because I wanted to see a longer title reign. Well, no, I mean, the title reign itself was fine in terms of length, but I would have loved to have seen more title defenses, and you know, that was a big complaint from a lot of the fans and stuff like that. And she's even done interviews that she wished that WWE gave her more title defenses, because look at what Jade Cargill was doing in this match. Would have loved to seen Jade Cargill doing that more through her matches, at least once a month defending the title, but long gone is that whole 30-day rule WWE used to implement in the storylines. But yeah, Jade Cargill was cooking in this match. Rhea Ripley, you always know she's cooking and everything. I enjoyed Io Sky coming out and taking out Michin and B-Fab in that awesome ending sequence to this match, which was clean AF. Man, because when you have Jade Cargill going for the running boot, and she misses Io, who does the moonsault and takes out you know, her version of the baddies in WWE. Then the ending where Rhea goes for the Riptide and Jade Cargill counters it and tries to go for the Jaded, but then Rhea just so smoothly went underneath Jade Cargill's legs and then was able to grab her arms and flip her into the Riptide and get the 1, 2, 3. I was like, yo, that was sick. Might be the best finish. I think the cleanest finish we've seen Rhea Ripley ever do as far as the Riptide. Like, the one where she took out Charlotte Flair was awesome, but this was sick. This was smooth and was like unexpected. Like, this had me like, and once again, if you all are Dragon Ball fans, you'll notice there's a cool move in Dragon Ball Super where Son Goku is about to get hit with the with this technique, this energy attack from the warrior Kefla, and you're wondering, okay, how she's gonna get out of this? How he's gonna get out of this? He's gonna do the Kamehameha. He glides the Kamehameha up her energy blast and completely point blank right to her face, sends her eliminating out of the arena with the Kamehameha. And Rhea Ripley's a Dragon Ball fan, so she would probably get that reference. That's what this kind of was like. Okay, Jade's going for the Rhea's gonna go, Jade's going for the Jaded. How Rhea gonna get it out of this one? Like, oh snap, Rhea just went under there and wow, she just grabbed her and wow, she just hit her with the, that's what I'm like through the whole thing, with the Riptide. Like, holy crap, what a finish, man. That slick finish was cool, and that's what I'm talking about. This match cooked, and it, you know, was it as long as some of the other matches? No, but I thought what the time that they did it and the fact that we got a WrestleMania moment out of here, like, this is good. This was good, so good. I had to put it in my top 5, man. These women absolutely cooked in this match and everything. And I wouldn't mind seeing a longer match one day between Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill, which I imagine we're gonna eventually get. And I'm fine with Rhea Ripley being put back on the mountaintop because honestly, when you look at it, Rhea Ripley, they took the world title off of her for about a year and she consistently stayed over. She is one of the most over people, men or women, in that roster. So I'm looking forward to seeing where they go from here with Rhea Ripley. So yeah, man, Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley, hats off to them. Hats off to them. Number 4, Gunther versus Seth Rollins, or should I say number 4, the Ring General, Gunther versus Seth Rollins. All right, would you looky there? There was actually a match from night 1 that made it into the top 5 for me. That's why I said almost every match. One thing that I actually did think was the best thing that felt like a big time WrestleMania match on night 1 was Gunther versus Seth Rollins. These guys were going at it. Now, I think that once again, the match time for this may have been shorter. It was one of maybe the longer matches for night 1, but they made the most of this time. They went at it back and forth, man. Chops, brawling all over the place, fighting on the table, man. They were going at it, and just the back and forth action was phenomenal. That's what I really loved about this match, because when I was making this list, I was like, man, I was feeling like night 2 pretty much better than pretty much almost of night 1, and I was like, you know what? There was one match that cooked on night 1, and there you go. And I think the fact that we got Braun Breaker coming in, getting big moments with him, basically spearing Seth Rollins in half, and then Gunther, of course, you know, he put Seth Rollins to sleep with the what was it called? The sleeper and everything was great, and it made Gunther continue to look strong, coming off of all being the last matches of Bill Goldberg and John Cena and AJ Styles. So, you know, a lot of them will say, you know, he retired all 3 of them, but let's be honest, whether they won or not, Goldberg and John Cena pretty much were done. They said they were done, so even if they won, they were going to retire anyways. But he was the last match, and he made sure that they did not retire with a W. And obviously AJ Styles, he is the reason in the storyline why he was retired. And then of course the big moment at the end when Braun Breaker came down that long WrestleMania aisle, and he's like, boom, got the spear on him, man. That was good stuff right there. You know, you got to give Gunther and Seth Rollins credit for a thrown together last minute story. Those two went out there and proved why they are 2 of the very best that WWE has to offer in ring. Like I said in my review, you could put Gunther versus Seth Rollins on paper and you're going to get exactly what you think it is, and that's a banger in the ring. And that's exactly what these 2 men did out there. They gave us a banger. They gave us something on WrestleMania night 1 that could make many fans say that, you know what, this right here, while all the other matches, like I said, for me were all right, this match actually was the one that went to that levels of great territory for me. So this was a great match, and I look forward to seeing them you know, one day again in the ring eventually when the story more naturally calls for it. So yeah. All right, we get to our top 3. So we begin with number 3. Penta versus Javon Evans versus Dragon Lee versus JD McDonagh versus Rusev versus Rey Mysterio. Woo-hoo. This ladder match, you talk about cooking, this match was cooking. Man, these 6 guys went out there and put on an excellent ladder match. I loved it, man. Everybody looked good. Rusev being the powerhouse, slamming folks on the ladder and the edge of the ladder. I think that may have been JD, I forget. Dragon Lee did a lot of good fancy stuff off the ladder. And then you had, of course, Rey Mysterio holding his own, being that he's over 50 years old now and still putting in good matches like this. Man, fantastic. Penta looked great. You see him doing, as the graph I used, the Mexican destroyer off of one ladder to the other ladder. Man, yeah, this match was chaos everywhere. All 6 of these guys delivered, and Javon Evans was a true standout for me, man. The way this guy was just jumping and flying over the ring. I thought that that OG cutter that he did from one apron to Rusev, yanking him off the ladder, was fantastic and stuff. Man, they pulled off a very spectacular spot, and I know there's been some fans complaining about, oh, it looked like Rusev basically had to jump in order to make sure he meets Javon Evans so they can pull off the spot. And you know, I say some things in wrestling, you just gotta have fun with it. Yeah, like I said, that spot where Ricochet back in 2023 at the Royal Rumble, Ricochet and Logan Paul did that cool spot where they were on the opposite side of the rings and they both jumped and collided in the middle. Yeah, it didn't make sense from a storyline standpoint, but you know what? It looked cool and it was a cool moment. Just like you go here, I'm like, sure, okay, what? Rusev had to jump off and make sure him and Javon can safely land that without injuring one another. You know what? I honestly don't care. It was a cool looking spot, and I give WWE credit, their production team. They were trying to actually make sure they focus on Javon Evans so that you don't see Rusev jumping. It's only until, you know, you go into different camera angles it looked like that way. But at the end of the day, you know, let's be glad that these wrestlers can pull off some cool spots and do it safely. That's the bigger thing. So shout out to Rusev and Javon Evans for pulling that spot off. It was cool. Rusev did a great job selling it on his face. He's like, oh, like, I loved it, man. This ladder match cooked. This was an awesome 6-man ladder match. And like I said in my review, Javon Evans would have loved for him to win, would have loved to be able to look and see him, Trick, and Oba have their big moments at WrestleMania. But you know what? He is 21 years of age, and I'm glad Penta got it here. They just put the Intercontinental title on him, and I don't like many fans, I don't like to see too much hot potatoing of the titles back and forth. So I'm glad they're still going to let Penta cook with the ladder, with the Intercontinental title match. So this delivered. Javon Evans had a big standout moment even in defeat, so yeah, I think he's going to be just fine. He's got a big career ahead of him. He even recently did an interview stating that he's just kind of doing this to get his foot in the door, introduce himself to the WWE core audience, wow them with his spectacular finish. But he realizes at 21 years of age, this is the stuff he ain't going to be doing for longevity, and he hopes to change it up and everything a lot sooner. So that's really good smart on him. So enjoy this style, I say, from Javon Evans while he's in his early 20s right now, because he definitely is going to have to adapt his style, especially if he wants to have as much longevity as, say, Rey Mysterio or something like that. But yeah, overall, match cooked. This was awesome. Number 2, Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar. Man, oh man, I really had to think about this, but when I ultimately look at it, what are the moments WrestleMania are made of? What are those career-defining moments that you look back on at WrestleMania and are like, man, years later, I still remember this. Decades later, this was still something that was memorable, and is something that was defining of those great WrestleMania moments. I give you Exhibit 2 of this list, Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar. Yeah, when you think about this entire WrestleMania, both nights, what's something that is constantly going to be replayed? Like, Andre the Giant getting body slammed by Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 3 as it just went in rightfully to the WWE Hall of Fame for matches. It's going to be this. this is going to be something that will be talked about for years to come, and it'll be one of those defining moments. Think about how, as I mentioned, when Hulk Hogan put Brock Lesnar over as the next big thing by Brock Lesnar literally squeezing the life out of Hulkamania, as they would say. Not literally, but that's how they would put it on commentary, with the blood coming off, coughing out. That was a big deal. And it is something that was still referenced for Brock Lesnar years into his career. Now you look at it here, this is something for Oba Femi. You're always going to be able to point back to this moment when Brock Lesnar was defeated in about 4 minutes plus against Oba Femi. This had such a big fight feel. And like I said on my review and the No DQ review, this is a match where I thought they did everything almost nearly perfect. Almost everything about this was done nearly perfectly. The build-up, they made Oba look like the absolute beast that will conquer the beast, Brock Lesnar, and he looked at every part of this match. The way they kept going at it, and Brock Lesnar basically Oba Femi tanking his shoulder thrust attack, his clotheslines. It was something. Even the F5, man, and Brock getting frustrated outside the ring, and Oba Femi, you know, he got up. He didn't no sell and take. It's like, he's like, okay, that hurt, but I'm getting right back up. And it's something where I would have loved to seen Brock Lesnar deliver the F5 to Oba Femi and Oba kicked out. I thought it would have made a great moment, a great near fall, or even if they decided to have him kick out at 1, but just having him slowly tank it out and everything was something. And Brock selling it, man. One of the best sellers I think in WWE history is Brock Lesnar. He is fantastic in that part of the ring. And when Oba Femi, you know, was able to get Brock Lesnar up, like you see in the graphic there, and hit him with the what is Oba Femi's finishing move, power bomb move called? I forget it. What was it? The fall from grace, sit down power bomb, and gets that 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. And Brock Lesnar, he sold it. He laid there until Oba Femi music went out and Oba Femi completely walked off the stage. Huge moment. Fans going crazy. I was going crazy. I was like, woo! Like, let's go! Let's freaking go! Oba Femi has arrived, and that's how you do it. Like he said on Monday Night Raw after, he says, the ruler has arrived. Man, good stuff. Like, this is exactly where WWE thrive. I'm so glad they went in the right direction, putting Oba Femi, realizing this guy is a big star for them, and now we're probably headed towards eventual match against Roman Reigns. And I think that can be for what The Rock versus Brock Lesnar was for Lesnar himself at SummerSlam 2002. That could be exactly what it is for Oba Femi and Roman Reigns when they meet up and stuff, because I imagine they want to eventually get to Roman Reigns, who's been the top guy over the last decade plus, putting over the guy that potentially could be that top guy in Oba Femi. So this was fantastic. And of course, at the end of the match, we don't know, obviously, is Brock Lesnar retiring? Is he not retiring? Who knows? We will obviously find out in the coming months. If Brock Lesnar's not back in time for SummerSlam for Minneapolis, I think, yeah, we know this was for sure, because as mentioned, I don't think I brought this up in my review. There was a part where Brock Lesnar threw up the X sign to Paul Heyman, and usually the X sign means that, okay, this is not part of the script, so that way they can let referees and the backstage personnel know that, okay, something is serious here. We're deviating away from the script. This was not meant to be. So who knows? We'll find out. If it is the end of Brock Lesnar's career, like I said on the No DQ review and in my review, heck of a career. Brock Lesnar, one of the greatest WWE superstars of all time in terms of just, man, his athleticism, his power, the matches, the moments. Like, man, there will never be another Brock Lesnar. That's for dang sure. When Rock and Stone Cold basically were phasing out, going part-time / retiring, Brock Lesnar was my guy. He was my guy as a preteen and young teenager that I gravitated towards until he left, and then CM Punk. And Batista were my guys for pretty much the rest of the Ruthless Aggression era, going into the PG era and reality era and stuff like that. But yeah, I followed Brock Lesnar's whole career since he first made his debut in WWE on the night after WrestleMania 18 back in 2002, through UFC, out of WWE to UFC to back to WWE again. So yeah, definitely in terms of just speaking purely from his WWE career, one of the greatest of all time for sure. Absolutely. And him going out to give us potentially one of the upcoming greatest of all time in Oba Femi. What a better way to go out. If this is the end of Brock Lesnar's career, absolutely. I think it was a fantastic way for Brock Lesnar to go out. Fantastic career from Brock Lesnar, and the beginning of what I will hope is a fantastic career for Oba Femi. Number 1, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. And so it is the WrestleMania Night 2 main event, which has not only obviously been the number 1 spot on this list, not just the number 1 spot for Night 2, but the number 1 spot of the entire weekend. Man, this obviously to me was the match of Night 2. So Gunther and Seth Rollins obviously for me was the match of Night 1, but this was the match of Night 2 and overall over anything that I saw at WrestleMania 42. Yeah, you know, the thing is, Oba and Brock Lesnar, they had a match that I thought was highly, you know, to be in that number 2 spot. But overall, the match quality, it did what it needed to do, but I don't think the match quality obviously matched this. CM Punk and Roman Reigns got to go out there for 35 minutes and tell an incredible back and forth story. Now, the build up to this match was kind of up and down. It had its high moments and it had its kind of lower moments, and it just kind of was like seesaw. Like one moment you're like, whoa, snap, they're really cooking here, and then like, this kind of felt a little overwhelming. But at the end of the day, when they got in that ring, they absolutely cooked. And man, they brought the intensity. Like Roman Reigns said, he doesn't like CM Punk, but they absolutely made magic and stuff, and they did the back and forth, the spears, the go to sleeps, the anaconda vice, the guillotine, the way they transition into their submissions, the table spot where CM Punk at this age going ahead and doing that flying elbow to Roman Reigns. Fantastic stuff. Fans, the audience were constantly in it. I was on the edge of my seat. This was definitely way better than the Night 1. So it's interesting. We start this, the 13th entry on this list, the bottom level entry was the Night 1 main event, and the top entry on this list is the Night 2 main event. So yeah, that tells you what I thought. And obviously as far as the quality of the matches, for the main events there, yeah, there's just so much fantastic stuff back and forth, and there were so many moments where it's like, okay, he got the spear, I think that's it. Oh no, okay, CM Punk kicked out. Even them going a nod to the Gunther and CM Punk match where Roman Reigns gets GTS and then goes into the rope, CM Punk falls to his knees and he goes on, and Roman falls onto CM Punk's shoulders, and it's like, man, is he gonna pick him up or no? It's like, man, this was fantastic stuff. I really loved it. It was great. Even the entrances, I forgot to mention, were awesome. Roman Reigns coming out with that orchestra and then going into the head of the table, which now it looks like head of the table is going to be Roman Reigns's intro theme song, and I Am Greatness, which is the more heroic sounding version, is going to be his outro theme. And I also want to take a moment to acknowledge CM Punk's entrance. So he came out with a video package showing all his moments in the independents and through his WWE career leading to where he is now. He came out to Misiri Kantari, if that's how you say it, by Afi, was it Afi? AFI? It was his old theme song in ROH in the independent scene before Cult of Personality. Also his jacket, huge amount of tributes on there, of course, to his dog Larry, who passed away in late 2025. And then he he also gave shout outs on his jacket to the WWE staff that had recently passed away, and they were long-term staff at that. Boo Luders, who was a close Chicago friend of his, for Harm's Way guitarist. He had just passed away. He wasn't part of the WWE staff, but obviously close to CM Punk. And then when it came to the WWE staff as well, he paid tribute to Curran Selfies, who was a longtime WWE director who mentored Michael Cole, and then Jim Shank, who was a legendary WWE cameraman, and then Davey Coates. He was a key guy for their international tours, and of course in the back he had Harley Race, who obviously is one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time in terms of what he brought to WWE and just to professional wrestling in general, and went on to become a WWE Hall of Famer as well, and he mentored CM Punk early on. So I thought that was really cool. Just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge all of that. So yeah, like I said, the entrances were even more top-notch night 2. And just getting back to the match itself, man, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, they put on a classic. I think one of the greatest WrestleMania main events of all time. I'm gonna chalk this up here. It has to be in the top 10 or 20 greatest WrestleMania main events ever. I think it's one of Roman Reigns' greatest WrestleMania main events ever, and Roman Reigns been throwing out some bangers for sure with like CM Punk. I mean, with not just obviously CM Punk here, but also with Bryan Danielson, aka Daniel Bryan, and Edge at WrestleMania 30. What was it? WrestleMania 37, and then you think of his matches he had with Cody Rhodes at 39 and 40, and then even the last match he had with CM Punk and Seth Rollins, triple threat last year, and he comes back and does it again here with CM Punk, with them just one-on-one. Fantastic, man. Chalk this right up into some of Roman Reigns' greatest WrestleMania matches. CM Punk, I think this may have been his greatest WrestleMania match ever, because he had an absolute banger with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 29, which is when he last did that flying elbow spot from the top turnbuckle to the announce table in his last appearance, and then at WrestleMania in terms of doing that spot. And then of course he had an absolute banger with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns last year in triple threat match, and then comes back this year at this stage in the game, with as beat up and as hurt as his body has been through the years, the injuries, him being 46 years of age, for CM Punk to come in and just be still throwing out bangers like this. Fantastic stuff, man. It's the reason why, and I said this about the Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, the Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton match, and the same thing goes for here, Roman Reigns and CM Punk. All 4 of these guys are established, so to me it really didn't matter who won, because obviously either one could take the loss, either one can obviously take the win, and the fact that Randy Orton didn't win that match, it doesn't take anything less from him being a bona fide guaranteed Hall of Famer and the legend that he is. Would it be great to see him get that 15 title reign? Absolutely would, but either way, like I said, it doesn't take away from his legacy. Cody Rhodes already established, and the same thing goes for this match. CM Punk already established. I thought his title reign here was better than the 400+ day reign back when he was booked by Vince McMahon. I thought Triple H did a heck of a job booking CM Punk's title reign here, and it wasn't one he was even meant to have, and he absolutely made the most of it, and it takes nothing away from CM Punk. Will we ever see him main event WrestleMania again? Will we ever see him get another world title again in WWE? I don't know, but even if he doesn't, CM Punk easily guaranteed WWE Hall of Famer and has certainly made his mark for being a legend in the business. Roman Reigns, did he need this world title reign? No, he's going to be a Hall of Famer and legend as well, but he has this new world title reign. I'm looking forward to seeing where they go for it. I do have some concerns with WWE putting him in the bloodline back together. Hopefully they can keep it fresh. We'll see how that goes, but yeah, ultimately, man, all 4 of these legends, like I said, they're established, so that's the thing about this. But we've got so many young talents coming up with WWE now that my thing about it is my thing about it is with WWE, with these legends is they have so many young talents with like Oba, Javon Evans, Trick Williams. These guys are on the rise that we can look at next year's WrestleMania main events, and we don't have to rely on these 4 established talents and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my thing and stuff. Shout out to Papa Gino in the chat 0017. Thanks for joining, Gino. Says Roman may not have needed it, but we did. Hey, man, I totally can understand on that and everything. I'm a Roman Reigns fan myself, so yeah, like I said, for me, I could have gone either way, CM Punk or Roman Reigns. I enjoyed both. I love both in terms of what they bring as talents to WWE. They are 2 of the all-time greats in my book, and I'm pretty sure the book of many others out there. And I'm just glad both men went out there and cooked up an absolute banger of a WrestleMania match, something that I do think will have a great ton of replay value for years to come and stuff. And he says loving the production value, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Yeah, that took a long time to make these all day making these graphics and stuff just to make the stream look as good as possible. But yeah, speaking of as good as possible, I think Roman Reigns and CM Punk absolutely put on as good of a main event as possible. It was great. It to me defined greatness for WrestleMania. Shout out to Gino with the ones in the air. Yeah, I acknowledge this match. I acknowledge both CM Punk and Roman Reigns for just not only putting on the best match of WrestleMania 42 Night 2, but the best match of the entire WrestleMania 42 weekend. Alrighty, so yeah, there goes listen, let me fix this there. Okay, yeah, so actually let me go back. Yeah, so obviously that concludes my ranking, but definitely let me know, whether it be in the chat or in the comments below, what you all thought in terms of WrestleMania and how you would have ranked your matches, the 13 matches for WrestleMania 42. Would definitely love to see it and everything, because that's what I like about it with pro wrestling. Everybody has different opinions, and it's always good to see how these matches impacted us all differently and everything and stuff like that. All right, get into the chat. Papa Gino says, I acknowledge you and our travel chief. Appreciate it. I acknowledge you guys. Check out Papa Gino's work too as well. Always a pleasure to be on No DQ with you guys and stuff and see your content as well and everything. So yeah, and let me go ahead and check out, see how the stream did today. So 142 of you who joined in on the vertical live stream. I really appreciate that. And 51 of you joined in for the horizontal live stream, so that's awesome. Really appreciate y'all coming out, showing the love tonight and everything and stuff like that. So definitely, it's always been a absolute pleasure and everything. WrestleMania 42, yeah, a lot of content this week to work on it, but finally made it through here and everything. And guys, overall, thank you all for joining in the chat, and you can see more of these highlights coming soon, as I'll be breaking them up eventually into daily videos and YouTube shorts and social media shorts as well. That being said, until next time, before my next time that I do a WWE PLE live review as well as ranking, because this is a seasonal channel, might not be until SummerSlam, definitely make sure to follow along, and I'll be heading back over to my main channel. So if you're a Dragon Ball fan, that's where I will be. But until next time, guys, take care, and you can make sure to follow me on all my social media platforms in the description below.